TikTok, time to rock.
TikTok, time to rock.
Time to rizzock. All right. Let's make sure we're live because we have not set up like this before. We have the mighty Tim, who set up his camera here. Set up his camera, connected it to the laptop.
Looking clean.
I don't see us yet.
There.
A few seconds. What?
We're good.
Yeah, but I don't see us. There we go. Hey, that does look good.
Yes, sir.
It's not freezing?
No, I just paused it.
Okay. All right, guys. First, tell us if you can hear us clearly because we have a mic here. And tell us how it's going before we start talking. And tell us if these fools in the back are too loud. Let's go! Let's go! Hey, guys, what's better? TikTok, time to rock, or let's go!
You gotta do it. Come on, man. You can't have just part of it. You gotta have all of it. What's up, Cheryl? Good to see you.
Yo, so yeah, we are. I realized I didn't tell anyone I wasn't going to be posting for a few days, but we are at a conference in Texas. It's the CIA conference that's put together by Cross Examine. Hey, Jorge, come here for 1 second. Just tell everyone. This is Jorge Gill. Everyone calls Jorge. Why do they call you the Pablo Escobar of apologetics?
Oh, I thought they were calling me the Tony Montana.
Why do they call? Yeah, I call you that too. But
Tony Montana.
I call you that. I call you the Juan Valdez of apologetics.
No, Juan Valdez. Well, Juan Valdez is actually an apologist.
Here, come up here.
So
tell everyone what CIA is.
Well, the Cross-Examining Instructor Academy is a 3-day intensive training when we teach you how to be a better communicator. We're not going to teach you apologetics. We're going to teach you how to do apologetics like the pros. We have David Wood as one of our instructors. We have Bobby Conway. We have Frank Turek, Greg Coco. We have Brett Conko, Richard Howe, myself, Alyssa Childers, and am I leaving anybody out?
Did you mention the detective?
Oh, yeah, Jay Warner Wallace, the cold case homicide detective. So if you want to get better at your presentation skills, it's a 3-day training when you present to us. So the idea is that you come over here and we're not just going to tell you what to do. You're going to come, you're going to present, we're going to shred you to pieces, and then you're going to come back and do it all over again the next day, and you're going to be super awesome when you're done. So it's 3 days, 12 hours a day, pretty much all day doing apologetics with people that have been doing it for a very, very long time. So if you want to sign up, we're going to have the sign-up sheet open. The landing page open maybe next month for the CIA 2021 is going to be in Costa Mesa, California. Sign up.
All right, and all I asked what it was, not for a 13-hour dissertation on the topic.
Man, got a shameless plug, baby.
Hey, what did I say to Jay Warner Wallace today? Jay Warner Wallace was walking by. I was sitting there with John McCray, Vada MC, and Carlton back here. We're all sitting at a table, and I said, "Hey, I got a question for you. You're a detective. Why could you explain for us are police officers slaughtering black men, women, and children in the streets? Please answer." And he actually he didn't freak out at all. He
I know.
actually sat there, and he wasn't falling.
He goes, Dave.
He wasn't falling for it.
Criminals. No, you didn't say that.
I didn't say that. He didn't say that. All right. So anyway, yeah. So I realized I wasn't posting for a few days and didn't tell everyone I was gone. Hey, you guys are too well. Shh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The live stream takes precedence. So yeah, I realized I hadn't told everyone I was gone, and everyone is wondering where I was at because I'd been posting every day. But
Same with me.
Figured we finally wrapped everything up. We kind of stayed busy here, so getting up early in the morning, going out, giving presentations, watching presentations. And doing all sorts of events, and now it's finish 4 in the afternoon here in Texas. I thought about doing a quick announcement when we got down here to everyone that since we're going to be in Texas, then once the conference wraps up, then maybe people in the area can get together. But then I realized this is like the COVID capital of the world right now, and so maybe that wasn't the best idea. So, anyway, realized we got a bunch of people here and a bunch of people who aren't even back here, but a bunch of people who are in the hotel that we might want to just sort of keep trading people out, right?
Oh, so when you say people in the hotel, you mean apologists.
Apologists. Yeah, not random
in the
people.
hotel.
Yeah, I want to go get people in the. Hey, hey, you across the hall. You want to be famous? You want to be famous on YouTube? Yeah, but we got a lot of cool people here, so we figure we'd just go live with everyone, have a chat, and so you want to start? You want to start?
Yeah,
You can be greeting people or taking questions.
Yeah, we can start taking some questions too. You guys go ahead and throw in some questions, and we'll start getting through some questions.
Duanji here says, "This guy is one of my influences converting to Christian."
Nice.
Who are you talking about? You talking about me or John or anyone here? Hey, look at this.
I wonder how many memers we got. If you're a memer,
any memers here?
Any memers?
There's got to be like 8 of you in the world. No, John has a cute channel. No, for real, guys. You don't know what this guy knows. He knows vastly more than he's been implementing. So it is a matter of time before his channel is possibly passes mine.
Yeah, once David gets banned.
That's true. That's true. Oh, there are people. See, yeah, look, Brenda here says I'm in Dallas. Welcome to Texas. Yeah, that's where
Nice.
we're slightly outside of Dallas, but that's actually where we
Yeah, there's all the memers.
Hey, Benjamin Handelman said, "Is Carlton hiding back there?"
Tell Carlton to get on the camera.
You know Benjamin Handelman?
Yeah, that's
Come say hi. Come say hi.
Ben, what's up, my dude?
Hey, I don't know where the camera is. This right here?
Yes, this one. This one.
What's up, Ben?
It's right here, bro.
What?
I'm just messing.
What's up?
Hey, Carlton, come here. So we go over someone's house last night, and there's these 3 young white dudes. And Carlton starts talking about reparations. And everything, these guys were like 18, 19, 20 years old. Everything these guys said we would interpret as racist.
No, it's funny too because they were like big fans too. So
yeah, they're over there because they wanted to hang out. But yeah, guys, I don't know if you noticed, but we tend to mess with people whenever possible. And man, that is an awesome opportunity. But that was a fun couple hours, wasn't it?
It was fun. It was really fun.
Yeah, and we saw Alan Parr from the beat. Got to kick it with him for a while. Got a lot of
Alan Parr. Man, I wish he was a little meaner because that dude looks exactly like Denzel.
Yeah.
And I would love to have a Denzel character. Like Training Day or something like that. meeting Muhammad in the Boom Boom Room because that would just be awesome, right?
Yeah.
That would be so awesome,
man. All right, you want to take some questions, and we'll take a few questions, and then we'll trade out and see who wants to step out. Or if you see something that would be good for someone here.
Well, all I see is a bunch of memers in the stands.
Memers? Ain't no memers here, man. Show me one memer.
Oh, come on! They're all memers. They're not here for you, David. I know it's hard for you to believe.
Victor says, I got a question for the maid.
Who's all right?
So I guess because the place is messy. No,
Bobby. Where's Bobby?
Yeah. So basically, when I'm in a hotel room, we always have like camera equipment and computer equipment. So I leave, even if I'm there for a week, I leave the "Do Not Disturb" sign up on the door. So like I would rather have a messy place than someone messing around with camera lenses and stuff like that. So yeah, generally, hotel room if I'm in it is a disaster up until I leave. But I don't know why. I do tend to clean up before I leave. Hey, check this out.
Oh, Bias Call, what's up, man? Just saw your comment. Good to see you, man.
Melissa Eberhardt says, have y'all ever been to Mass? I believe you mean Catholic Mass or you mean Massachusetts?
Same. She means Catholic Mass.
Catholic Mass?
I recognize
Massachusetts.
You. Good to see her. I think she's a Catholic, one of my Catholic subscribers. I noticed.
Yeah, I actually grew up going to Mass.
Oh,
I
yeah?
haven't been to Mass.
Jorge says he grew up there. I've been to Catholic services before because my wife's family is Catholic. Yeah, look, DeWall here says, yeah, I'll be doing a video on this when I get back. Again, I've been gone for a couple days, but DeWall said, matter of fact, you're the one to show me that article today. DeWall said, Christian girl in Pakistan got kidnapped and converted. Make a video about it. Yeah, so
she was 14.
Yeah, she was 14. So people show up with machine guns, kidnap her, take her away, marry her off. Then a lower court judge says you have to. They take her to a woman's shelter, and then a higher court judge said she has to be taken back to her Muslim husband because she is a Muslim now because she converted. And yeah, so welcome to tolerant Pakistan.
Yeah. Cold world, son.
Everyone loves Pakistan. Oh yeah, look at this. Hey, look at this. Roman says
Yeah.
Almost 500,000.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I mean, yeah, because see, Wood has he's been taking his donor money and buying subscribers to inflate his numbers. So
That would be fun. That would be funny.
It's like
That would-
COVID.
That'd be messed up.
Wood is his channel's basically COVID statistics. It's like-
These people give me super chats and I buy subscribers. Trinity Radio says,
Brax,
I'm a memer.
what up? Yeah, meme team, son.
This must have been when you asked it. Deck Crash says, what do you meme? Brenda Memer here.
Nice.
Cheryl R.
Yeah,
Memer.
memer.
By his call.
Love my memers.
Big fan of John here.
Yeah.
Wait,
Love
what is
you.
this? Jamie Boyd. What about your security, Doctor? Well, what security?
Security. We don't need no security.
Here's my security. Here's my security
Got
right
two
here.
guns right here. 2 guns.
Cat 17 Memer.
Nice. Good to see you.
Uh-oh. We got someone else knocking on the door. Hey, come say
what up,
hi.
man?
We got Vada.
We got
MC,
we got a freestyler here.
What's up?
Since-
What it do?
Yeah.
Is he a real one? What it do?
All right, so we got. All right, so what's that?
Is this a rap studio?
We got Vada. So look, who do we got here? We got Vada. We got what's cool is we got this young buck back here. We got this young buck named Aiden
Oh yeah.
who has Tourette's syndrome. So he'll just start blurting out there's a bomb in here, all sorts of stuff. And it's just it's wild stuff. But anyway, we got a pretty cool crowd that we keep going on here.
Yep.
All right.
David Wood for president, 2024.
Wood for president.
I don't know if that's the.
Hey,
Hey, wait, hold on, David. If you were president, what would be the first thing you would do? If you were president,
That's
see what
cap.
the chat says. It says David Wood for president, 2024. So let's say that this is actually going to be your moment right here.
Hey guys, everyone's complaining about the horrible noise back there. Use your inside voice. Learn to whisper.
So look, if you could be president in 2024, what would you do? What would your policy be? Go ahead and give us your pitch.
I would rather die 100,000 horrible bloody deaths than be president. So yeah, I can't imagine it happening. Not my style.
So resign.
Yeah, that would be my first act.
First thing you do.
I don't know. I might go crush someone I don't like.
Yeah.
I might do something. My first and only act is to nuke this dude. All right. Oh, and guys, feel free to. Let's see. John Buckley here says, "You guys ever going to come to Boston area?"
I've never been. I don't think. Have you been?
I actually grew up in the area. This is so before West Virginia, when I was real little, like 3, 4, 5, and 6. I lived in Chicopee, Massachusetts. So kind of in the area. What's that?
You got vocab. In
Oh,
the house.
Vocab Malone.
What'd it do?
Hey, Vocab. Hey, Vocab. We need a freestyle. Oh wait, you're not here. I guess we'll go with Vada.
Vocab says must be nice. Vocab, did Wood invite you?
I did invite him,
Oh,
and he
you
never
did?
responded.
Oh.
Whereas you responded, so you came.
Yeah. Yo, oh yeah, so Boston, yeah, we probably come at some point, I'm sure, huh? We travel a lot, seems like.
Cashman says, "When did you realize Muhammad was a fraud?" After like 10 minutes of investigating him, pretty much. And if you look at the obvious features, now. To be fair, when I was studying Islam, I was looking into some of the significant issues. And so one of the first things that really stood out, this is before I knew about even like Muhammad and Aisha and these things, but one of the first things I found out was what's called the Zainab affair, where Muhammad took the wife of his own adopted son. Now that would be one thing, right? So this isn't just whether it's okay to take the wife of your own adopted son after causing the divorce by lusting after that. That's one thing. That seems messed up enough. It was the revelations that he got that justified it. And where Allah explains why he needs Muhammad to marry the wife of his adopted son. And that it's in order for men to understand that it's really okay to marry the wives of their own adopted sons. And I'm just sitting there thinking, wait a minute. If Allah wants to reveal that, he can reveal that. He can just say it in the Quran and say, guys, it's okay for you to marry the wives of your own adopted sons. He could say it. But in the Quran, what he actually says, Surah 33, verse 37, you can look it up. What Allah actually says is, Muhammad, this is so important for men to realize that it's okay to take the wives of their own adopted sons. I need you to go out and do it.
Because he's the
And it's
pattern
just
of conduct.
Yeah, and that's the same chapter. That's Surah 33, verse
awesome.
21. That's the same chapter. So
Yo, my
just
brother's on.
What?
My brother's watching.
Your brother's watching?
Yeah.
This is Tim. Do you want to say hi, by the way? Do you want to come on? Yeah. This is Tim. This is Bobby Conway, the guy who helps Bobby Conway with all his videos.
Woman
And
apologist.
they have the exact same haircut for some reason. And
Almost.
Mine's going out a little on the side.
Yo, here's a good question.
hey, check this out. Check one second.
Go ahead,
Alex
yep.
Fernandez says, "Where are your masks?" Well, fortunately, we've all been tested. Anywhere we're going at the conference and so on, they're pointing this thing at our head and checking our temperature and doing all that stuff. So unless we got it like today, we're clean.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Um,
Oh, yeah, but if you want one, I'm not touching your nasty mask, man.
Don't touch my mask. We have one. They're here.
Keep that disgusting thing off me.
Ben, what's up, bro? He says, who'd win in a knife fight, Vocab or John? I'm scrappy. I said it'd probably be me. In a knife fight.
I don't know. I've never seen either one of you throw down.
Yeah, I'd say I'd probably win.
I say I'd beat both of you, but that was not the question. Silly PB said, great interview in the Eric Metaxas show. Yeah, so I'm actually going to be back on the Eric Metaxas show because his organization originally contacted me when I made a video about why some people hate cops. And so I was talking about prison experiences, but somehow before the show, he watched my testimony video as well. So we ended up talking about that, but still wants me to come back on to talk about prison and Islam as well. So pretty cool stuff. You have to respect, see, as someone who started blasting away at Muhammad when it was not popular for Christians to do that. It was considered, I mean, the what you were taught, if you were trained in evangelism towards Muslims and so on, you're taught never criticize Muhammad, never criticize the Quran. It's just going to drive Muslims away. They'll never listen to you. And I knew very different from personal experience. So I started blasting away at Muhammad and the Quran. And so it was kind of an untouchable for many years. So when these geniuses like Frank Turek say, David, come to CIA and train people in Islam, you have to think, man, this is a smart dude. This is a smart dude. And then we see Eric Metaxas, man, let's get David on the radio show and then YouTube here and talk about Islam. These are smart dudes. These are smart. People are catching on. And guys, what is Islam going to do when people finally catch on? Because that's been Islam's, one of its main couple of ways of protecting itself for the past couple of decades is, hey, you Christians, if you really want to reach us and convince us, just never point out all the stupid nonsense in our religions. Just don't point that out. Yeah, because if you really want to reach us, don't point out any of the problems in our religion. If you point out the problems, then we'll never listen to you again. Total nonsense. You start pointing out the problems, they can't stay away. Right? They're drawn to you. They just notice they keep coming. They keep coming and coming. Guys, when I did Muhammad Week, we were inviting Muslims on to join us live. We have to do like Muhammad Month because of all the Muslims who contact and say they want to join us live. And what happens? Our prophet just gets exposed. They can't stay away. They can't do it. They can't do it. All
like
right.
a moth to a flame. What movie is that? Oh, Spider-Man. Remember? So predictable. Like a moth to a flame. What else we got?
Oh yeah, how long have we been on? About 20 minutes. Hey, who do you guys want to see up here? We got a room full of guys here. Tell us who you want to see.
Well, they got to know who's here.
Who do we got?
So we got a
roll call. It's the roll call. Roll call. It's the roll call. We got Vada MC. We got Bobby Conway, the 1 minute apologist. We got Jorge.
I can explain what Bobby Conway is, but you don't say it's your real radio when you say my name. What's that about?
I don't know who's real and who's not, man.
He assumed that I needed some extra
Right.
content.
Don't feel bad. You know what I mean? It was a slight towards you. I'm sorry, David.
Look at this.
Sorry, David.
there's questions coming in.
What's that?
I don't know. I mean, you'll catch up to me.
David Wood, please make a video comparing the Christian heaven and the Islamic heaven. Well, depending on what kind of person you are, you might prefer the Islamic heaven. Given a certain kind of person, if you want if you want a paradise where you get perpetual virgins, and you say, how can they be perpetual virgins if you're having sex with them? Easy. Allah restores their virginity every time you have sex with them. But how can you have sex with all these women? Easy. Allah gives you this miraculous, supercharged penis that never goes limp. And so you get to spend all eternity deflowering virgins. And that appeals to a certain kind of person. So if you're that kind of person, have I got a religion for you? But no, that would be a good video. I used to talk about it a lot in debates, like I'm talking like 2007, 2008, 2009, and so on. But
I was thinking that you don't talk about that. How about that?
No, I used to but it would be when it's on topic. It's sort of what is the goal of Islam and so on.
David Muhammad takes pills.
Allah, the ultimate Viagra. The divine Viagra. Connor Slack says, what do you think of Fareed Responds? Well, I've only basically ever, as far as I can recall, I've only ever seen 3 things from Fareed Responds. One was a video that everyone said, Fareed responded to you, so go ahead and address this video in a live stream. We addressed it in the live stream, and by the time we were done, even the Muslims would not defend what Fareed said. We're saying, defend this. Defend what he just said right there. Say you agree with him. They wouldn't say it. So that was one thing. So even Muslims, once you actually go through the evidence, they think this is embarrassing. But people who weren't Muslims were saying, why are you responding to this guy? This is the stupidest stuff ever. So that was one. The other is his tweet where he said, what did he say? Oh, yeah, because people have pointed out that, if you're giving child brides to grown men, that's actually rape because girls aren't capable. They're not even at an age where they're capable of giving consent. And Fareed posted, how can it be rape when the parents give their consent?
Oh, man.
So that was kind of embarrassing to a lot of people, mainly people who don't share his view. And finally, I was on a live stream with the Apostate Prophet, and he played a clip, or I saw it in one of his videos. I saw a clip where Fareed was explaining why no one recalls the moon being split. And he basically said everyone must have been asleep. So something along those lines. But yeah, guys, not impressed. But don't. Everyone should get your mind around the idea that you don't need to jump on everyone who responds to your video, right? We want guys watching our videos and focusing on ours. Meanwhile, we're blasting away at Muhammad, blasting away at the Quran, right? And they're scrambling to respond. And part of the reason they're scrambling to respond is they want us to divert our attention to them and away from Muhammad and the Quran. Not going to happen. I'll occasionally respond if, I'm bored and I want to have some fun and actually respond to some of these guys. Or if I'm trying to help some of these guys out, because some of these guys we want to increase in popularity. And so, yeah, but mainly I'm going after, once guys, once Yasser Qadi admitted that there are holes in the narrative, we got a golden opportunity right there. And I said golden opportunity. That made me think of the Muhammad. Be quiet about that.
Look at Lay's comment.
Who?
Lay, Tyron Lay.
Too many comments.
Sorry, Lay, what was that?
Tyron Lay. Why would God punish you for not believing in a historical event? Why not just reward repentance?
Yeah, I don't think God's punishing people for not believing in a historical event. Are you talking about?
Speak up, a little closer.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, I was just gonna say I don't think God's punish. I don't know what you're referring to. God's not punishing people for not believing in a historical event. And even then, that's kind of the question. Why would you not believe in a historical event? Yeah. Anyways.
Samuel Lane says, what, in your opinion, is the strongest argument in favor of Islam, and how would you refute it? I get asked this question not terribly often, but at least a couple times a year, people will ask me this question because they like to hear it. And you don't have to think, hey, if I don't adhere to a certain position, then I can't, consider what its best arguments are. So if you were talking about atheism, you could pick your best argument for atheism. You might say, well, all the evil and suffering in the world is the best argument for atheism or something like that. You could argue that. In Islam, gosh, it's hard because really any of the arguments takes literally 4 to 5 minutes of research to find out how bogus it is. I would say if you really, gosh, I can't even say this. I would say just, arguing, well, hey, it's this pure monotheistic religion and promotes pure monotheism and one God, and look around you in nature and this shows that there's one God. But
well, they have some philosophical arguments. They're just not good for Islam, right? Like some of the philosophical ones are decent.
Yeah, there's lots of like natural theology in the Quran. It's constantly appealing to nature to show that God exists, and there are arguments that one God exists and so on. The problem is once you dig a little deeper and you find out what the doctrine actually is and all the stuff you have to add to it, it's just bad. So I can't even think of how I could argue seriously for Islam. Like right now, if I wanted to, I could argue for atheism, right? I could argue that if I wanted to right now, I could argue that Christianity is false. There are all sorts of positions I could argue for and argue against. I don't see how I could make any serious case for Islam that wouldn't be based on deception, right? Like I could sit here and say, well, of course, the Quran has been perfectly and miraculously preserved since the time of Muhammad, but we know that is a flat out lie. It's just a lie, and so I can't think of any arguments for Islam that aren't based on deception or ignorance.
Hey, Ooga Booga, if there's a video of an atheist or something using that an argument around that, send it to me and I'll do a video response on that topic. So
somebody asked about best Bible studies. Bobby, you want to weigh in on that?
Best Bible studies. Bobby Conway being asked about best Bible studies.
Wake up.
There's your mic right there.
All right, what's up? Hey, I just wanted to apologize on behalf of David Wood. I know that some of his inappropriate use of the tongue and the vernacular about the supercharge.
Oh yeah,
I'm teasing.
That's what sucks. You can't even talk about what's in the Muslim sources without.
Exactly. I know it's tough.
You immediately go to PG-13.
I'm sure everybody died laughing on the supercharged penis that you're given. It is. There are things that are hard to grasp, but as it relates to Bible studies.
Perfect segue.
Well, we're still trying to recover.
Hold on. First of all, you're the 1 minute apologist. You're on a timer.
Well,
1 minute. Go.
You don't understand. We're trying. Okay, we got 1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll take a few seconds to say we're still trying to recover from your use of perpetual virgins and stuff back there. But getting back on track with about 45 seconds left. I would say go check out YouVersion. That's the largest size app. There's tons of Bible studies there. Even at the 1 Minute Apologist, we put out several Bible studies that you can check out. And so I would say that's the kind of the go-to place that I would encourage people to check out.
Wow. That was only 15 seconds.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like
15-second apologist.
Yeah. Bravo, sir. Bravo.
Yeah. So anyway.
Says Sam's still live.
Orega here says, "Hi, Dr. David. Did you hear that Muhammad Hijab sent a message to the apostate prophet to make suicide?" Yes, I was on the program where the apostate prophet was discussing that. "I think your program with AP has made many Muslims disappointed." Yes, in case anyone isn't familiar with that, you can go watch it. But the program was supposed to be about Muhammad. We're going to talk about Muhammad, like the so-called Prophet Muhammad. But he apparently backed out of a debate with the apostate prophet right before it started. Well, he had originally agreed that they were going to have an online debate. Then he started demanding, "You must face me in person. You must face me in person." And the apostate prophet was saying, "No, we agreed here." And so then Muhammad Hijab was saying he's not going to debate unless it's face-to-face. And so we ended up talking about Muhammad Hijab, and Muhammad Hijab came into the chat and then started saying some of the most perverted stuff you've ever seen anyone ever say, talking about, I don't even want to talk about it here. You can go and watch it. But Muhammad Hijab earned himself a new nickname with all of that stuff, and it's not a nice one.
So just posting a picture of a shower.
Yeah. So it's not fun, but I mean it's just amazing that someone that has been he's been put forward by Zakir Naik as someone who's going to be taking the torch for Islam. This is one of the guys who's going to be going out and debating and stuff, and the second you start disagreeing with him about anything, then he starts talking about the most perverted stuff you've ever seen. Actually, in that program, I kind of defended him, because if you go to the Muslim sources, that's how Muhammad and his companions were, right? Muhammad said, if someone brags about his lineage and so on, tell him to go bite his father's penis, stuff like that. He talked like that. Abu Bakr said to one of the pagans, he said to one of the pagans who believed in goddesses, he said, go suck Allah's clitoris, right? So he's basically saying, go perform oral sex on your goddess. Now, you can just imagine if we talked to Muslims like that, if we said, hey, go suck Allah's penis or your prophet's penis or something like that, they would be enraged. They would say, how dare you not have better behavior than this? And yet that's the behavior exhibited by their prophet and his companions. So it's just this endless display of hypocrisy. And so when we see people like Muhammad Hijab talking about these disgusting things, we think, oh, what a horrible representative of Islam. No, that's the guy who's really representing Islam. Right? That's the guy who's actually doing what Muhammad said and following his example. So very interesting stuff. Let's see. Arab Taste here said, when can I have a discussion with David? Arab Taste, if you are a Muslim, then once I get back, we're gonna be setting up the discussions with all of the Muslims who have contacted me and said that they want to have a discussion about their prophet. But I have to say this, right, guys? We did Muhammad Week, and then there were other Muslims who wanted to discuss Muhammad. We're not stopping at Muhammad Week. After we finish up with the Muslims who wanted to talk about Muhammad, then we are going to switch. And then we'll have a Quran Affirms the Bible week with Muslims invited. Any Muslim in the world, Muslim apologist, Muslim scholar, anyone can call in, go live with us, and attempt to show that the Quran claims that the Bible has been corrupted and not that the Bible is the inspired, preserved, authoritative Word of God. So we're going to spend an entire week where Muslims from around the world can contact us and challenge us. After that, since what will happen as a result of that week is that the Muslim viewers will realize that no one on their side can show us a single verse of the Quran that condemns our scriptures, that the Muslims will finally start to realize, hopefully, that their book affirms our scriptures, and that means we need to start looking into what our scriptures teach. And so after that, we'll have Trinity Week, where we will accept Muslim calls from around the world to show us that the doctrine of the Trinity is false or unbiblical, or however you want to argue it. And notice, guys, we're the ones accepting all challenges here. We're the ones going live with any Muslim in the world. And people say, oh, what about Fareed Response? These guys are all invited. They're all invited. They can join us. Muhammad Hijab and Ali Dawah want to join us live. We know they'll just try and turn it into an insult fest, but we'll still give them the opportunity, because that's how generous we are. That's how we roll.
Yeah, better bring your A game, son.
Hey, Senora Salsa. Senora Salsa said the roll call song.
What's that?
She remembered the roll call song. You're too young, man. Yeah. Way back in the day, there was what's up, y'all? I can't remember because this was so long ago. This was like early 90s, but it was what's up, y'all? What's it gonna be? Who's on the mic?
Oh, you always, huh? Yeah, you.
And they start going roll call. It's the roll call. Roll call. It's the roll call. When we do like our live news show, we need to start off with that roll call.
Is that like the Beastie Boys or something?
Come on, man.
Who was your favorite rapper back in the day?
When? Like in the 80s?
Yeah, back in the 80s. Back in the 80s.
In the 80s? Yeah. I don't know. I had a couple different, but I liked Cool Mo D up until Mama Said Knock You Out came out, and then he lost. No, not really. I just, okay, you lost, dude.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's take a couple more questions here, and then we'll get someone else up here.
Yeah. This one says, David, make a video on how the Simpsons made more prophecies than Muhammad.
Closer. This mic's far away from me.
Oh, my bad.
Let me move this mic so it's closer to. There we go. There we go.
It says,
check.
I lost it. I hate this thing.
You said Simpsons, man.
Yeah, I said
Simpsons made more prophecies.
Oh, yeah, make a video on, Simpsons made more prophecies than Muhammad, or it says more than Muhammad.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it's just funny. Here's the problem you have, guys, is that there's this just concept of exaggeration in Islam that anything you could possibly say about Muhammad or defend even slightly, you exaggerate it until it's massively important. So if Muhammad said anything remotely positive about like respect your mother or something like that, it gets exaggerated to Muhammad was the greatest feminist of all time, right? And so you have all of these different issues. And so you'll have Muhammad at one point saying, hey, the Romans lost, but the Romans will win later. And oh, lo and behold, the Roman Empire, which had a pretty good track record of eventually winning, won a battle. And then you see, this is miraculous confirmation of Islam. You see, it's all the fulfilled prophecies and so on. But if that's your standard, if that's your argument, you could defend the idea that anyone's a prophet because everyone says something about, oh, this is what's going to happen. And then it happens. Samuel Jenkins says, hi, David, question here. How can I effectively witness to a Muslim, i.e. show them that Jesus was God? Hope you see this.
Send them David Wood's videos.
Yeah, that's a good start. Yeah, send him my video. Where did Jesus say, I am God, worship me? Samuel, I actually made a video. Titled, How to Share Unpleasant Facts with Pleasant Muslims. And so that's about actually criticizing Islam and so on, but the same sort of general principles that I talk about there would apply even if you're trying to witness. But I generally encourage people to start off by asking lots of questions and starting off with what I call what questions. What do you believe about Jesus? What do you believe about the Bible? What do you believe about the Quran? What do you believe about Allah? What do you believe about these things? And then eventually transition into some why questions. Why do you believe this? Why do you believe that about Muhammad? Why do you believe that about the Bible? Why do you believe that? And then once you've asked those questions, now you know this particular Muslim's reasons for believing in Islam. And now you know where you'd want to challenge that person's beliefs. And if you're talking about Jesus, well, you'd want to challenge the Muslim's beliefs about Jesus. And then so it would be, well, if you believe this, how do you explain this? If you believe that, why did Jesus say this? And then you go into your case. Yo, we've already been on 40 minutes. Should we get someone else up here? Who do we want to get up here?
I don't care.
Yo, who wants to come up here?
Man, we working out. We ain't even worried about
Are you guys up here? They're back there doing push-ups.
We ain't even worried about it.
Okay,
We
first
got
off,
the prison workout going on back here, baby.
Here, hey. You want to sit here?
That's what you want.
Yeah, let Aiden sit here.
All right. We got Aiden first.
We got Aiden. Anyone ever wondered about, scooch in here, anyone ever wondered about Tourette's syndrome?
What kind of
doing that, bro. He said we don't like intro. That's what they say.
Why is it so inverted?
Huh?
Why is it inverted like that?
So, Aiden, what's Tourette's syndrome?
Yeah, it's a neurological disease where like you make unwanted movements or like noises. I mean, it's not involuntary in the strict sense. Like I can control it. It's just like difficult. So, like for example, it's like an itch, like where it's like you try not to itch it, but it gets the urge just grows over time. So.
Now, I've noticed that while you're talking, you speak pretty clearly and fine. But it's when you're not talking and you're just sitting there, then you start blurting out all these noises. So how's that? What's wrong with you guys? What is? Am I supposed to be gentle here?
You make it sound so much worse than it actually is, bro.
Hey, seriously, somebody needs to give Wood a pastoral clue. Like, you don't. Right?
Yeah.
Come here, man. Like, we're here, bro. Okay?
Bro, I know. Yeah, earlier he was like, he was saying that I like shout out bomb in an airport. That's crap. That's not true, bro.
All right, everyone. Aiden is explaining Tourette's for everyone. So let's go back. One, how long has this been all your life, or did this start at a certain time?
No, I started recognizing like symptoms of it like when I was like 10. I had like a blinking tic, and then it grew from there, and then it probably reached its peak, if you will, like I don't know, 4 years ago, and then just been dealing with it since.
It doesn't decline. It just sort of stays after that, or
yeah, there'll be periods when it goes kind of just go up and down, like how prevalent it is, but yeah. It's probably not going to get much worse, and it could get better. I mean, some people have it, and when they get like, because I'm 18 right now, some people when they get like, middle 20s or you just get to adulthood, and it kind of goes away. Some people don't, so it's not up in the air.
And guys, Aiden might look slightly familiar to us before if you're like a diehard fan who watches everything we put out, because last year CIA was in Harlem, and we were in New York, and GMS Hebrew Israelites started posting, well, why doesn't Vocab Malone ever show up face to face? Where's Vocab Malone? We're like, hey, we're
worse than that. They're like, yeah, if he came up here or whatever, I wish he'd come up here face to face.
Oh yeah. They're saying they wish Vocab would show up and confront them face to face.
This is the leaders of GMS.
Yeah, that's the leaders. These are leaders.
On the left?
These are who's on the left?
Like me.
Yeah, the leaders.
Oh
of
yeah,
GMS.
that's you. Yeah, this is Aiden. So check this out. So the leaders of GMS in Harlem were like, hey, wait a minute, we're in New York. So we just roll up on them. But Aiden actually lives in Harlem. He's like, I want to go. So he rolls up on
I'm like 16.
on a camp. He's 16 years old and rolls up on a camp of GMS Hebrew Israelites with us. And so anyway, we were there for like 2.5 hours having a discussion with the Hebrew Israelites. And it's funny because that particular camp, they believe I'm one of them, right? They believe I'm a black Hebrew Israelite, right? Because that particular camp believes it's your skin color can be white, even though your lineage actually goes back to a Hebrew Israelite. And so you might have had so many white people interbreeding with your line for so long that you look white, even though you can actually trace your lineage all the way back. But here's what's interesting. They believe that people who are like that, well, how would you know, apart from some sort of DNA test that verified it, how would you know that someone can actually be traced back? Well, they believe that you can spot the signs based on how someone dances or how someone sings or beatboxes. And so so they saw videos of me beatboxing, and they concluded that I'm actually a black Hebrew Israelite. And so that's pretty cool. And what's funny is the leader's name, I think, is Tahar. But in videos where Vocab will insult me, Vocab, like, just joking around insults me, Tahar will post a video response saying, you shouldn't be talking to David Wood like that. You shouldn't be talking about David Wood like that. So it's cool. He's actually defending me. So those guys are okay in my book. Anyway, back to Tourette's syndrome. Yeah. So how do I segue back? What? I'm bringing it around. So, now, so is that something that when you're in school, because obviously you go to school and then you're sitting there making weird noises all day, yelling out bomb threats?
Nope.
Have you ever
happened? That's not true.
Have you ever yelled out a curse word in school?
Not yell, no.
But you've said it, so
I have corporalia, yes, but I can control it pretty well. So.
Okay. Yeah. So you're sitting there making all sorts of weird noises around people. Now, how have people reacted? Because I've heard that like bullying and stuff isn't as bad as it used to be. So are other kids like, hey, it's cool, we get it, or do they make fun of you, or how's that been? They don't make fun of you.
No, they're chill. People are chill, bro.
See, the world is getting better, ladies and gentlemen. In spite of what you think.
Most people are totally chill. If they're usually like, if they hear me tick or something, they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I just got Tourette's," and they're like, "Oh, that's fine." No, I haven't really experienced much.
See, that's pretty cool because my son Blaze was in school and we were watching some show, and it had something about bullying on there, and Blaze goes, bullying's not really a thing anymore. And I'm guessing it is in certain places. And
it's still a thing.
Yeah, it's to some extent, but not. I think it was much worse, like 80s and 90s and so on. So
maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. All right, Aiden, what do you want to share with everyone?
Oh, I don't know.
What do you want to share with everyone? Anyone have any questions for Aiden?
Tell him about how awesome he was at the CIA.
Yeah, hey, Ryan92 says, does he yell Allahu Akbar? That would be awesome. So, if you had Tourette's syndrome and you're walking around the airport going, oh, that would be pretty awesome.
That'd be funny.
Hey, what did you present at CIA, Aiden?
I presented on the contingency argument for the existence of God.
Yeah, and I have to say, so Aiden here was at CIA. Again, if you tuned in, if you weren't here at the beginning, CIA is the cross-examined instructors academy where apologists who've been doing it for a while give some training to newer apologists, and after some training, then they actually have to give presentations, and then we sit there and critique them, and then on the last day we actually start blasting them. Yeah, we actually start blasting away at them like today everyone gathered together and it was just it was a free-for-all. These guys have to stand up at the mic, and we start throwing stuff out. So like my first question that I asked, I jump up there and I pulled out my phone, I point at this guy's face, and I say, which lives matter? And your response is going on Twitter. Get it? Because you're just baiting this. Whatever he says, he's in trouble, right? So questions like that, how are you actually going to react under fire? But a couple of things. So last year you seemed really, really nervous.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, you seemed really nervous. You were sort of stumbling around while you were there.
And then you were in there, so.
Yeah, and you didn't seem very confident. Whereas today, when you're giving your presentation, you were sticking and moving, right? Sticking, talking, moving.
Yeah,
seemed really confident, and that was awesome. But then at the end, when you had a really difficult question, well, you actually jumped in when Luke was answering a question, and then you jumped in with a response. You actually got a burst of applause when you were spitting out your responses.
Yeah.
So
so you guys know too, Aiden is wicked smart for his age. Really, really smart. And so it's cool because we met him at 16 and he knew a lot of stuff about like apologetics and stuff. So he's got a really good head start, really sharp kid. So he's going to be going places in the apologetics realm. So
thank you, bro.
Yeah.
And notice again, it's well, of course, there's the Tourette's. But that's the sort of thing.
He's like, that's all I am, man.
I know.
Just the Tourette.
Yeah, we told him to make a channel called like Tourette Apologetics.
Yeah, bro.
Or something.
He literally wants me if I make a YouTube channel, he wants me to name it like Tourette Apologists. I'm like, nah, that's so.
Who needs bullies at school when you got friends like David Wood?
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I view it as my job to like toughen up everyone around.
Yeah,
Right?
just toughen them
The
up.
world's too soft. Toughen everyone up. But no, you got people like Aiden here, who's insanely intelligent, who's learning all kinds of stuff. When my kids, were just playing video games a lot of the times and so on. But then, not a lot of young bucks like this. If you say, "Hey, we're going to roll up on the GMS camp of the Black Hebrew Israelites in Harlem," not a lot of kids say, "Hey, I want to go be a part of that." So anyway, cool things happening.
What does that even mean? Tourette's has it.
Aiden doesn't have Tourette's. Tourette's has Aiden.
Got him. Got me there. Aiden? No, it's AIDAN. Whoever that is, I don't know.
All right, Aiden. Any why are people? Cindy Lou asks, who is this kid? What are you talking about? We've been discussing things with Aiden.
I don't know. I'd like
for
to
like,
know too, yeah.
For like 20 minutes now.
Who is that kid? I don't know.
All right, Aiden. Anything you want to? Look at the comments I get.
Bro, he got you.
All right, here you have a request. Danny Varghese says,
Aiden, reveal your wisdom.
Aiden, reveal your wisdom.
Oh. I'm okay. It's okay.
You don't want to share your wisdom?
What wisdom?
About what?
Yeah, about what?
What if someone said there's no good argument for the existence of God?
What are you gonna say?
What do you mean?
Boy.
Yeah.
See, he's trained right.
That's
my boy. That's my boy.
Yeah.
Here you go. Burge says, "What is your focus in apologetics?" Whoops.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I'm interested in. I mean, all of it's interesting to me, but I'm probably more interested in the philosophical side. And I like to dive deep into like the hardcore philosophy, like reading the actual literature and stuff, not just William Lane Craig and stuff. But yeah, that's the side of it. More existence of God, philosophy of time. Yeah, those are the things I'm interested in.
And yeah, just so everyone knows, the argument that he gave for my class today was the argument from contingency. The argument for the existence of God from contingency. Got it. Oh yeah, now we know. Now we know who Phil is.
Thanks for telling me, bro.
That's the same guy who had the nasty comment
Oh,
earlier.
that's nice. Seems polite. Nice.
All right, so since Aiden won't talk unless he's not supposed to talk, in which case he won't stop talking randomly.
Yep, totally. That's definitely what it is. Yep, 100%.
All right, so who are we gonna jump up next? You can always come back if people have questions here in a second. Wait, who needs to leave first? Some of you guys are wanting to leave at some point.
Man, we all want to hang out with you forever.
Who wants to come up here next?
Bring your head up there.
Yeah, it don't matter, man. I don't.
Hey!
Don't bother me.
Oh, come here.
Hey.
Carlton. Let's get Carlton over.
Carlton!
The hot seat. It's the hot seat.
All right. Carlton.
Right.
Easy question for you, Carlton.
Okay.
Easy question. Reparations.
Oh, God.
No.
Oh, man.
Benjamin, no,
He's trying to get everybody.
What?
Benjamin says, bring on Carlton. I want to ask him if he's a left-leaning Christian and what he thinks about James White.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Bro, he
Oh,
loves James White.
Stop,
Okay.
man.
Favorite
So
person ever.
so we got three things here. Are you a left-leaning
No.
Christian apologist?
No, I'm not left-leaning. I'm not right-leaning.
You're not?
I'm for the agenda of the lamb, not for the donkey or the elephant. It's a nice little title.
What was the question about James White? Does he like James White?
He loves
James
James
White.
White.
What does he think about James White?
What
You
do I
don't-
think
you don't-
about
you don't-
James
what do you
What do you
White?
think about
you don't-
James White's take on
you don't have to
social
answer.
justice and
I
black
tried to
culture?
get smoked, man. Tried to get me canceled before I even get started.
Yeah, that's your buddy.
I like him for some stuff, but not so much for others, man.
Like, what are the things that you don't like on Mom?
Oh my God. So why don't you tell me, John?
Tell us everything you don't like about
Oh my
every
God.
apologist you don't like.
Somebody said to do the Carlton. Oh man, if I had
Do it.
Carlton,
Can you do the Carlton?
I can.
Do it, bro.
Yeah, but
I'm trying to see that.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, everyone step back.
Are you?
Come on.
I might be.
Hey, and just so everyone knows, his actual name is Carlton. That's not a nickname. It's a family name that goes back. He wasn't named after Carlton.
I was not.
That's a family name, and so he just got the coolest name in the world, and then learned to do the dance.
I did learn to.
You gonna try it?
Unusual. All right, somebody do it with me then.
No.
No, this is yeah.
Hey,
That's actually
That's
pretty good.
yeah.
That's actually pretty good. He learned it.
Man.
He learned it because it's his name.
Man.
So
You ever met anybody named a black guy named Carlton that can't do the Carlton?
I feel like it's just part of the DNA. Like it's just in your DNA to know it.
all right, now scooch in a little because the
All
mic's
right.
right here.
Okay.
Reparations, yes or no?
Oh my gosh.
Easy question.
Easy.
It's a yes or no question.
I just said all my white friends just their wallets just clenched up. Like, no, man. I think it just depends on just how you're defining it. Because I think it's one of those things where I think a lot of people just express incredulity at it at first. And so when you start to look at state mandated evils that had a generational impact that haven't been rectified, you know what I mean? A lot of times the question goes from being, should something be done, to, well, how would we do something? And then, well, we don't know how we would do it, so nothing should be done. As opposed to, I think what the middle thing would be is, should something be done? And then we can discuss method afterwards. And so the concept of reparations, and keep in mind, I'm not necessarily trying to be pinned down to just saying, hey, let's everybody just get a free check. But I do think it's a conversation worth exploring that I think just gets shut down from the onset. And I'm sure nobody just got triggered from what I just said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just in case, I don't want him to be the only one triggering people. We had a discussion about it last night with a group of people, and I sort of laid out my view that I gave the example of Max Baer, who's a boxer back in the 1920s and 1930s, and he actually killed or had a role in killing two guys in the ring. And he actually, I know at least one of them had kids, and Max Baer spent the rest of his life paying for that guy's kids, to go all the way to college and so on. But I mean, think about that. It's I had a role in taking your father away, and therefore I'm going to do something that your father would have done if I hadn't had that role in taking him away. And so he's saying, I'm going to do that. But what I was talking about was, what if it was like my great grandfather who had done that, and like if my great grandfather had killed your great grandfather, and now that has affected your family, and you'd been in poverty and so on. Well, it's weird to say that I have to do this or I have to hand over something, but I would say if I know that, then I would say it's a good thing to do. If I know that I can do something that has been caused by my family or something like that, and I can somehow do something, then I would say it's good. And so, if it's a situation where one group has been oppressed or abused by another, my position is, if you can do something, sometimes you can't. Sometimes there's nothing. Sometimes it's so long ago, you just there's no way to do it. I would say it's a good thing to do if you can do it. The question then becomes, can you do it? What can you do about it? And is it actually good? And would it actually work. But as you're pointing out, the discussion usually gets shut down because
Just
people are thinking,
right from the
oh,
beginning.
you're saying we just take tons of
Just
money
saying,
and
hey,
hand it
you're
over.
saying I got to pay
Like,
every black person I see.
I'm going to take all the money
Yeah.
out of my wallet and
Yeah.
give it to you, and then everything's right. And we wonder what would that have to do with anything. And so it's got to be something different than that.
So
but-
something just happened in Asheville recently where they did approve something for reparations in the sense of now they're putting a lot of funding towards investing in home ownership and a lot of businesses for the black residents. So they're recognizing the economic impacts that certain things like slavery and oppression had. And so, do you take dance classes, Carlton? No, I don't take dance classes.
So that
This is
just came
natural.
natural?
That
man.
is natural, man. But right. But I do think that the fact that this is something that's being looked into, I think it's progress. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times when we think about justice, especially in a restorative sense, in the sense that a lot of times it's just, I think that true reconciliation involves more than just admitting an offense. I think it involves making the defrauded party whole. And so I think, if we take a look at what that looks like, then maybe, that's where we can have discussions. But I think too often it just gets shut down at, nope, whatever, just pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And I think, certain conversations are worth looking into.
Just had a question asking how old I am. 44, like a magnum.
Yeah. Just got that.
Bumbleclap Boy said, so this goes back to what I was mentioning earlier. If you don't believe in the Quran, why would a verse claiming the biblical scriptures are corrupted matter to you hypothetically? Well, if the Quran said that the Bible's been corrupted, I wouldn't care at all. It's the Quran. I don't believe in it. This isn't about us. This is a point about Muslims using an attack against the Bible, which is contradicted by their own God and their own prophet. And so they're using it illicitly, right? So to give you an example, if I were arguing for the resurrection of Jesus and an atheist said, that's stupid because miracles don't occur, I might need to make a case for the existence of God and for the possibility of miracles with that atheist. If I were arguing for the resurrection with a Muslim and the Muslim said, that's stupid because miracles don't occur, my response would not be an argument for the existence of God or for the possibility of miracles. My response would be, what the heck are you talking about? You're a Muslim. The Quran is filled with claims that Jesus performed miracles and that miracles are possible and that God exists. Why are you using that? You're not allowed to use that. If you want to leave Islam and become an atheist and then come back and use that argument, be my guest. But as a Muslim, I'm not letting you use an argument that you are not allowed to use. So what we're doing is there's something similar where you've got Muslims around the world saying, your Bible's been corrupted, your Bible's been corrupted, your Bible's been corrupted. We open the Muslim sources and Allah says over and over again, like a beating drum, that our scriptures are the inspired, preserved, authoritative word of God. They can't be corrupted and we still have to judge by them and honor them. And so Muslims are saying something that completely contradicts what their God and their prophet say. And their leaders who tell them, no, the Quran says that the Bible's been corrupted, are flat out lying to them. They're flat out lying to them about what it's just like they lie about, the Quran's been miraculously preserved. They know that's a lie. They just keep telling people these things. So it's a weird situation where we actually have more respect for the Quran than a lot of Muslim leaders do because we're at least honest about what it says. So what we're telling Muslims is, as long as you are adhering to the authority of your book, you have to respect the authority of our book. You don't realize it because your leaders conceal these things from you. We're going to draw your attention to those things so that you stop arguing this. In other words, there are differences between Islam and Christianity, and there are very important points of discussion and places where we want to examine the evidence. This isn't supposed to be a dispute between us. We believe in the authority of our scriptures. Your God, the God of Islam, believed in the authority of our scriptures, and your prophet believed in the authority of our scriptures. So if you don't believe in the authority of your scriptures, you're out of line, not simply with us, but with your own religion, and we're the ones who have to tell you what kind of sad situation is that. So that's the situation. This doesn't have anything to do with us gathering authority for our book. It's pointing out a contradiction in their religion. Their religion affirms scriptures that contradict their religion. And that's just a problem. And they don't know about it. And they won't know about it unless we tell them about it. So that's the idea. You see any questions you want to respond to? Don't get nervous now.
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
You just danced in front of all these people.
That is very true, man. I don't think it gets much more nerve-wracking than that. I know someone asked, what's my favorite argument for the existence of God? I'm a big fan of the Kalam and the moral argument. Pretty standard, but I think they're really powerful.
Hey, for people who believe, right? So you always have these extremes, right?
Yeah.
You always have these extremes. So you'll have people who see racism everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything's racist.
Yeah,
Everything you say is racist. Anything blah, blah, blah is racist. But then you have people, come on, man, it's the 21st century. No one's racist anymore.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm just bringing this up because yesterday someone asked you, what do you think about microaggressions? Because we think of microaggressions as ridiculous because everyone sees anything anyone says as a microaggression.
For sure.
And you're pointing out, no, you actually believe there are these things called microaggressions, and you gave an example. So tell everyone what you would experience as a microaggression.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's one of those things like how, because everything gets heavily politicized. So I
Come a little closer.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Yeah, so I think, for instance, I think it's possible to have some problems maybe with an ideology without having racial animus. So, for instance, I went to the National Science and Faith Conference I think 2 years ago, and I asked this question about the law of causality and the origin of the universe. And the scientists, they were like, oh my gosh, it was a great question. And so afterwards, this 75-year-old white guy comes up to me and he's like, man, I was wondering, what's a little black boy doing asking a smart question like that? And I looked at him and I was just like, you know what? I didn't go off on the guy because, you know, obviously those were the vestiges of the time he grew up in, but he meant that as a compliment, you know, and even though there wasn't any racial animus there, I was still really racist what he said, you know, assuming that because I'm black, I can't be intelligent. You know what I mean? Now, there wasn't any conscious racial animus there, but I still think that would be something that could be perceived as a quote unquote microaggression.
Yeah, so he's not deliberately being aggressive.
Exactly.
But there is something there.
Yeah, and a set of erroneous beliefs that's, I guess, maybe coloring the world, you know, the lens that he views the world through. And so, and he might not be conscious of it. But then, you know, it's like if somebody says, wow, you're really smart for a black person, or wow, you're really pretty for a Mexican. Like, a lot of times people will say that and they'll mean it sincerely as a compliment, right? But that would be an example of something where there isn't necessarily an intent or an aggressive, you know, intent there, but there's still something of, you know, something that's kind of still racist there. And I think it's something that should be fixed.
And it's funny because you talk about all kinds of stuff, and then I bring up the stuff that's going to trigger people.
Yeah, exactly. I talk about so much more than
reparations.
Man.
Talk about reparations and microaggressions. That's what we want to hear about.
Everything.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I kind of like triggering people.
I can tell. Yeah.
It's weird. I noticed that. So, like years ago, apart from abortion, I didn't really have political positions. I would just take the opposite political position of anyone I was in the room with. Right?
My gosh,
if I was in a room with, like, you know, diehard leftists, I'd praise God for George W. Bush, right?
Yeah.
You know, like that. And if I was in the, of course, room with a bunch of, you know, conservatives or Republicans or something like that, I'd be maintaining the opposite. I just realized that, you know, it's kind of fun.
So. I mean, whenever I'm in a room, my left-leaning friends think I'm right-leaning, and my right-leaning friends think I'm left-leaning. So.
Yeah, now, just to be clear, I do have certain political positions now, but on lots of things, it's not just going to be, hey, this is the side I'm on, and therefore I agree with everything on this side, or I'm against, I disagree with this side on this huge issue, therefore I disagree with everything they say.
Yeah, we got to disabuse ourselves from this political tribalism that I really think does, you know, permeates a lot of American Christianity. Because people be ideologically gangbanging.
Remember tribalism? So in this conversation we're having yesterday, this white dude says, you know, tell me if I'm wrong here. He said something along the lines of, you know what's cool about white people is we don't have this tribalism that other groups have.
Yeah, just looks like.
And that's a situation where he's not meaning anything offensive and stuff, but we're like, so I started
whites.
going, so which tribe is he from?
Exactly.
And that's what I meant whenever they would say something, and then we would.
No, exactly. What's Christianity's position on black? What?
Huh?
Was Jesus really that white as he's portraying now?
Who's asking that?
That is Khadijah.
Okay, well, we dealt with reparations.
Now
we dealt with reparations and microaggressions, and now was Jesus as white as he is?
Somebody said I'm a liberal. Oh, here we go.
There you go.
All right, so we're about to get the cultural Marxist, the intersectionality,
SJ,
the woke mob,
woke SJW,
victimhood mentality.
Yeah, always complaining about a victim. Give me the reparations. Give me the reparations. I'm a victim.
I'm not a liberal, but this is what happens though. Like, you speak on a racial act, you mention that, and they're like, you must support abortion, or, you know, and it's like, no, But as a Christian, I stand against injustice. And so the question is injustice happening? And instead, there's such we marry conservatism with Christianity so much that if you disagree with one thing that's a part of it, you don't have the gospel anymore. And I think that's not what's happening. That's not Jesus. That's putting Caesar and Christ together. Come on. I guess amen. I'm just saying, man. So all right. Anyway,
all right.
Somebody pass me the offering plate.
Well, no. Yeah, you're getting some feedback here.
Yeah.
You're getting some feedback. That's right. You're getting some feedback.
Yeah.
That's right.
Amateur Onset is about to school you here.
Oh gosh.
Here you go.
Oh,
the way
snap.
I look at reparations is no one alive in the U.S. was a slave or owns a slave. So I don't agree with it at all.
Okay.
Pow.
Well,
In your
I guess
face.
he just disproved everything. No. So I guess part of it would be, I think the concept of reparations isn't foreign. So we think about it like, let's say with respect to indigenous persons who, because we recognize that there was a state mandated evil that was done against them that didn't just die with them, that had generational impacts that still manifest today. No one alive was responsible for the taking of the natives' land, but we recognize the impact that had on them, and that still permeates a lot of today. And so because of that, we recognize that something needs to be done to rectify that, because we can't interpret events in a vacuum. History is constantly influencing the present. It is not so much focusing on, hey, just leave all that stuff in the past alone, but when we recognize the impacts that it's had, and the lack of reparations, which literally just means, I guess, the fixing of a problem that was done, sometimes either monetarily or by other means, I think that that's one of the things that can go into it. So it's not so much on this individualistic notion of I'm not necessarily guilty of it, so much as, an evil that was done to a people that I guess in some sense has continued to be done, not necessarily slavery, but a lot of the other oppressions that take place, but that still has a lot of impacts. And I think the reparations, not to mention the slave masters were given reparations for lost labor, and there was a reason why slaves were promised 40 acres and a mule, and then they weren't given that, because owning land is one of the main keys to gaining generational wealth. So then all of a sudden now all the land is bought up, all the property, a lot of the power, and then these people, don't have access to that. And I think that you're seeing a lot of that play out with respect to poverty, which is one of the big influencers in a lot of different areas. But yeah, I don't think that that's a really good objection, but I understand the sentiment.
Yeah, because you could make your case, because I said my position, and I'd be open to modification. Is it's if it's in so far in the distant past that there's just no way to work it out, then obviously there's no way to undo the injustice. But if there is something that can be done, and just so you know, I don't think, let's take this money and hand this to this. I don't think that works. It's more like, let's say this community was massively poor because of things that were done. Is there something you can do to help fix that?
And I think we think of things as so far in the distant past. You know what I mean? One, the Emancipation Proclamation was in 1863, but then the aftermath of that didn't even really get down. Black people, well, not even all people. Juneteenth is something that got recognition now, right, in 1865. So more than 2 years after the fact, when the last slaves were free. Mm-hmm. But then afterwards, you started to see, I guess if you read the 13th Amendment, it doesn't necessarily say the ending of slavery. It just says the ending of slavery, except as a punishment of a crime. So then you look after that, and then all of a sudden you see Black crimes that take place and sharecropping. And so a lot of them end up back on the same plantations that they were freed from. And then you start to see, the March on Selma was like 55 years ago. But I feel like there's this perception that a lot of these issues are just so far removed in the past. That's like, what are you guys complaining about? And so I think when we recognize the impacts that history has had on the present, and not just it being historical, but then when you take a look at some of the things that still take place, I think it vastly, I guess, changes the scope of the conversation.
Yeah, and I mean, notice here, again, I mean, if you took this seriously, then when you have an example like a boxer kills another dude, and that dude's family, let's say, is now impoverished because, they had a mother and a father. Their father was earning money, and now he's gone, and so on. Let's suppose that family's in poverty. Let's suppose it's not him. Let's suppose it's me, and I'm his son, and I have an opportunity to help these kids who were impoverished because something my dad did. It's just a question. If you can do it, is it a good thing to do? I would say yes. But if we follow this, well, no, I'm not the one who did it. I didn't bust his head open, and these kids didn't have their heads busted open, and therefore, you shouldn't do it. I don't know. It's just something weird about that. So again, the question is, how far can you push these things back and so on? And anyway,
I hear you.
Yeah, because keep in mind, this isn't just slavery. There's a lot of things happen after after slavery. Right?
I feel like there's this really sanitized history of with black people in the struggle in America that slavery happened, and the way that they'll see it, it was like something that was 400 years ago. So, even though it wasn't, let's say slavery happened, that got solved, and then black people were kind of treated bad. Then Martin Luther King gave some speeches, and then he solved racism. And so, what were you guys complaining about? And you look at the practices of redlining, which for those of you who don't know, that was something that started kind of in the 30s and the 40s that kind of barred black people from buying land and buying houses in, nicer neighborhoods with whites. They said, no. They drew red lines around certain things. They can't be here. And so that's what created a lot of the hoods, ghettos in America. Now, am I saying that every black person lives in the ghetto? No. But that's what created a lot of that. It's not like a whole bunch of people just said, hey, you know what? I want to live in the poorest, most dangerous communities. And yeah, that sounds like the life. A lot of them still, that's like literally the systemic outworking of a systemic evil that was taking place. And then it's not just something that was historical. There are banks within the last decade, I think Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all have been found guilty of this practice of redlining to here, and they're losing millions and millions of dollars. So when we see a lot of that, I think it, but I think it informs a lot of it.
You just had.
I think I've seen a few super chats.
Oh, you're getting refuted now.
Oh, let's see.
Hey, it's the same one.
Snap.
Amateur anthem. Okay, so if blacks in the U.S. want reparations, they should start with the blacks in Africa for selling them to Europeans.
Oh,
just
what we
saying.
Talked about last night.
Just saying.
Man, he gonna talk about black on black crime next. Okay. No, I'm playing. But
Mike is yours, sir.
Yeah. So with respect to
hang on, I just wanted to bring up, ladies and gentlemen. Here's something I wanted to address real quick, right? Because there are people who are going to be flipping out. How dare you?
He's in the woke gospel. No,
how dare you? Right? I've noticed that anytime we're just developing a culture, right? Like we have, of course, cancel culture, right? Where someone has to be destroyed for saying anything I disagreed with, even if it's 10 years ago, right? Yeah. And most of us look down on it and say that is ridiculous, right? But there is something similar going on with so many people on so many different sides, namely that the second you say something that I think is in any way associated with some position that I do not want to hear you, and I immediately want to shout you down and say that this is ridiculous. And so, whereas my inclination is, go ahead and make your case. I don't care what it is. You want to make a case for white supremacy? Tell me what you got. I'll hear this. I'll listen to this. Go ahead.
Somebody just asked, did Jesus ask for reparations? No. I'm like, first off, the whole concept of reparations is justice. The whole glory of the gospel is that the cross is the place where love, mercy, grace, and justice meet. The only reason the gospel works is because of justice. That's why 1 John 2:1 says he's the propitiation for our sins, and not only for that, but those of the whole world. There was a propitiation that satisfied God's wrath. The same thing is spoken about in Romans 3:24-28. So the whole purpose is that he wasn't unjust in what he was doing. Justice worked through the cross. So that question literally makes no sense, especially within a gospel framework. I'm just saying that right there.
But I noticed you just skipped over.
Oh yeah, but the blacks
in the U.S. want reparations.
There we go.
They should start with the blacks in Africa for selling them to Europeans.
So yeah.
Burnt.
Okay, so part of that I think is one, we're reading a 21st century mindset with respect to race into African relationships. One, Africa wasn't a monolith. So it's not like they just viewed each other as black people. A lot of times the people that were sold into slavery were prisoners of war. So here's where we get back to tribalism, right? There were competing tribes. So it wasn't like, hey, I'm a black person and I'm selling another black person into slavery. The same way that I don't ask, when the Ottomans fought other, European nations, well, why did they fight each other? They were white. That's not part of what it was. But second, the whole thing about, I guess, it being in Africa is that the injustices well, I guess the Europeans then a lot of times they were kidnapping Africans, but even with the ones that were sold from fellow Africans into that, the injustices done to them. Well, one, millions died in the on just the way here, and then in America, that's where all of a sudden the injustices permeated, and that's where they started to be, I guess, propagated in terms of now you are dehumanized, and that's why, I feel like the whole blacks should, and I guess too, it was a state-sanctioned evil. Like it was in the U.S. that it happened. So that's why when somebody said, when Arabs came and enslaved Africans in Africa, and then that was something that we talked about last night. And then so do they owe reparations? And I guess part of that is, well, I mean, if they're still living in Africa, and if that's still something, I guess that would be something to be looked into. But I don't think that
so, and part of it is a situation where you can't really trace something in certain instances that long ago. The question is whether you can. Like suppose there were a slave-selling town that had become massively wealthy based on selling slaves, and that tons of gold and so on had been delivered to this town for these slaves and so on, and so that now this, they're sitting on all this wealth that was from slaves, and you could actually identify it. And this wealth was taken, for these slaves, and we can actually locate the ancestors of these slaves. In that situation, I still wouldn't say take the gold and so on, and, and hand it over, because again, I'm not thinking in terms of handing over money. It's a question of what can you do to if descendants of this group are in the position that they're in because of things that were done to them, and you're in a situation where you can do something about that, I believe you should. That's my position. If you can't, then sorry, there's nothing you can do.
And then somebody said that the justice done on the cross wasn't societal. So all I'm going to say with respect to that is yes. And so I do think that there are still several scriptures that do speak to justice in society. So you go to Isaiah 1:17, where it says, learn to do good, seek justice, correct oppression. You go to Isaiah 10, 1-4, where God is judging Assyria, which he's going to use Assyria to judge Israel for the injustice.
Every valley shall be exalted. Right. Every mountain and hill shall be made low. Huh?
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You crazy, bro. And what he says, God pronounces the voice, says, woe to those who make unjust laws, to those who issue oppressive decrees, to deprive the poor of their rights and withhold justice from the oppressed of my people, making widows their prey and robbing the fatherless. What will you do on the day of reckoning when disaster comes from afar? To whom will you run for help? Where will you leave your riches? Psalm 82, 3-4, when he's talking to the magistrates and talking about the perversion of justice that's taking place. So I still think as Christians, we should be against injustice. The question is injustice taking place?
Now, a few minutes ago, you mentioned systemic.
Oh, boy.
Now, so you talked about the reparations.
Oh, man.
You talked about the microaggressions. We're trying to show you are full, woke, social justice warrior, leftist, radical Marxist.
Exactly.
We're trying to get you in that category. And the nail in your Marxist coffin will be systemic racism, right? Now, I just want to say, because here's how it goes. Right? Yeah. You have people complaining that it's not, hey, I'm not talking about this racist or that racist. No one, I don't think anyone denies that there are racists.
Right.
But what do you mean that the system is racist? What the heck are you talking about? What do you mean there, right? Yeah. And you have people who point out, wait a minute, what are you talking about, man? If you're black and you work hard, you'll tend to do well. Yeah. You'll tend to do well. If you study hard in school, you're going to do well. Right. And then you go out and work. So how is the system stopping you? Yeah. So what in the world do you mean?
Well, yeah, so I think there's a lot of things, like you said, when we speak about racism, it's such a vague term because different people use definitions. So a lot of times that can be equally valid. So a lot of times my white brothers and sisters will think about racism as sort of the Webster's Dictionary definition version, which is a valid definition, which focuses more on interactions between individuals, and I think I'm better than you because of X race, or I'm going to treat you a certain way because of X race, right? And I think that's a valid definition. But when we start to go beyond that individualistic lens and start to look at how certain things manifest in society, where the color of the skin seems to be the independent variable. So for instance, something like marijuana use, where black people and white people use marijuana at virtually the same rate. But black people get arrested at 4 times the rate, and incarcerated at 6 times the rate for that exact same crime. Like something where something doesn't seem right there, where it's not necessarily somebody saying, I don't like black people, but there seems to be something in which there's an institution that's treating people differently based off how they look. There was a study that was done by the Harvard Business School that showed that when qualifications are essentially similar, if you had a white sounding name, you were 50% more likely to get a call back than if you had a black sounding name. So John Smith is more likely to get a call back than Demetrius Williams, just because of sort of, this, because they had a black sounding name. There are studies that show that when the education is similar, that white men with prison records have a higher callback rate for the job than black men without. Like certain things that we look at it and we say something's not right there, and the distinguishing factor seems to be the color of the skin. Same thing that I said with redlining, and this is why the banks are losing these cases, because there are black people that were qualifying for these loans and still being denied them. You look at certain things with respect to housing, to access to healthcare, and this stuff that permeates it. So that's what we're speaking about when we speak of systemic issues. It's not necessarily anathematizing white people or saying that it's just because there's a whole bunch of white people in this room in the back, they're just saying we hate black people and we're gonna make it's more so about recognizing how these certain systemic issues manifest with respect to different groups and trying to rectify that if it's an unjust application.
And something else we were talking about earlier today was you have a lot of people who see, I know examples of problems like this, right? Like I mentioned, I was locked up, and I remember talking to someone, and he said, "Hey, what are you locked up for?" I said like violent crime, but I was locked up for bashing my dad's head in with a hammer. And he said, "Oh yeah, what kind of time you get?" And I go, "I got 10 years." And I said, "What'd you do?" He said, "Yeah, selling drugs." And I said, "What'd you get?" He goes, 12 years. I was like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah.
I bashed a skull in. I understand drugs are bad. I agree. Yeah. I agree, Jessica. Drugs have wreaked havoc on my family, right? I understand that. But, the physical act of smashing someone's skull with a ball-peen hammer. Yeah. And this guy's got more time than I did. There seems something really, really weird about that. And so I'm not sure exactly why that is. Yeah. But if the point is, if it is just coming down to treating certain crimes as worse than crimes that they're not really worse than, right? Yeah. Then that's a kind of problem in the system. And here's something else we were talking about, that you have all these people who can't fathom the idea that there's something messed up in the system. Yeah. And I point out, we have all these people complaining about, right. The cancel culture. Yeah. And there's a whole system of Twitter and the fake news and the fake media, and they're all working together to keep me in a state of silence. And if I don't even feel safe to speak because I'll be crushed by this entire system of oppression against me. There's this system of oppression, right? Like I feel like that to a small extent when the YouTube Trust and Safety team says, atheists can criticize Christians. This is exactly what they'll tell you. Yep. I'm going to be making videos because I have screenshots of the stuff they say. Right? Atheists can make fun of Christians. Christians can make fun of atheists. Muslims can make fun of Christians or atheists. But if atheists or Christians make fun of Islam, I didn't even say Muslims. Yeah. If you make fun of Islam, now we're still getting away with it to a point because they haven't fully rolled out the enforcement of it. But if you're saying something that is even offensive to Muslims, Muslims have since the Christchurch mosque shootings been classified as a protected group, and now any kind of speech that might offend them. It doesn't say you're calling for attacks against Muslims or anything. If it's something that could offend a protected group, it is hate speech. And that sounds so insane to me that if they actually go around and enforce this, I'm thinking this system is screwed up. Right. This system is favoring this group over mine. Yeah. Now just imagine that every time I went to point something out, ever imagine a situation where every time I point out, guys, how come this group can criticize me, but if I criticize their religion or their ideology, it's hate speech and I will be suppressed. How come? Imagine every time I mention that up, someone, oh, you're playing the victim. The victim mentality. Look at me, I'm a victim. I'm pointing out I see a problem. Now you can show me that it's not a problem. You show me that I'm wrong, but you don't just shout me down by saying, oh, you're got a victim mentality. So the point here is most of us seem to be familiar with structures and systems that are leading to the oppression of various groups. And tons of people are complaining about that. Oh, my ideology is being oppressed. My this, that, being oppressed by the system. But as soon as another group says that, it's no, it's impossible. It's impossible. Why don't you say make your case, and we'll see if you're right. And so yeah. Anyway, those are some of the thoughts. All right, a couple more. Check this out.
All right.
Benjamin Handelman said, "Tell Carlton he needs to get his YouTube channel up and running."
Oh snap! All right then. If that's what the people want.
How many times have we been telling you that over the past 2 days?
Everybody has been telling me that, so I will definitely get on that.
Guys, and here's kind of the reason. If you've noticed, and I want to start making videos on this as well. If you notice, everyone's becoming more polarized, right? There various studies have shown that politically we're more polarized than we've been at any point since the 20th century, right? And they did studies since 1945. All the stuff that happened, right? All the stuff that happened, Vietnam War, all the stuff that was polarizing. The record of polarization, political polarization, was set during the Trump presidency, and it broke the record, a previous record set by the Trump presidency. David criticized Trump. No, I'm giving you statistics here, dummy. That broke the previous record, which was set during the Obama administration. So Obama had broken the record, since records were taken, about this political polarization, which broke the record set during the George Bush administration, which broke the record set during the Clinton administration. What does this mean? It means that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter Republican or Democrat. Whoever is in charge, the polarization is increasing, right? Yeah. The people are getting farther apart. Congress is getting farther apart, right? And think about part of why that is, right? If you go far enough, if you go far enough that way, then anyone who's that in that direction on the political spectrum is on the opposite side, right? In other words, think about this. For a long time, people were kind of like this. You have people over here and people over here, and here's the middle, and so there's some overlap. Well, if one group goes over here, then now the people in the middle are far right. The far right or far left, right? Yeah. And then this group then sees how insane this side is going. They see how insane, let's say, the left is going. My goodness, look how insane they're getting. And that makes them dig in. And anyone who starts even heading in that direction, they're so worried about this group going so far in that direction that they freak out. And what happens is they keep digging. And anyone who's anywhere that would have been somewhere in the middle, because I'm in the middle on a lot of issues. I'm not in the middle on something like abortion and things like that. I'm not in the middle on everything. But on a lot of things, I'm kind of. You want to make your case, make your case. Exactly. You want to make your case. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat on this issue. Make your case for why this should be. And if you can show that you've got a plan that works, great. I'm not going to side with a different person just because I disagree with you on this other issue, right? Right. The idea is anyone who's now, if someone's roughly in the middle, then if someone's far enough, right, or someone's far enough left, then that person looks like an extremist by comparison, right? So I'm so far over here that you look like an extremist because you're way over there. Well, that's not because of me. That's because you went so far that way or you went so far that way, right? Yeah. And so we kind of need people who are kind of in the middle to finally take a stand, because otherwise this doesn't stop, right? If with each successive presidency we're becoming more and more polarized, that ends in civil war, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. That's how that ends.
And I think part of it is because there, like you said, there's this extreme anathematizing of the other, where there's just such big extremes where on one side you do have the people who try to blame the system for everything and try to absolve someone of personal responsibility. Mm-hmm. Then on the other side you have those who just try to say it's complete personal responsibility, there's nothing else at play here, just pull yourself up by the bootstraps and hard work.
I would say it's a mix, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's not either or, it's both and so I feel like when you're reading scripture, because if we as believers are reading scripture and find that it lines up 100% with a certain political side, we're not exegeting the text, we're reading through a partisan lens. And so I think that we need to try and divorce ourselves from that, disabuse ourselves from these tribalistic presuppositions that we hold so dearly to, find our identity in Christ, and truly try to be the outworking of the church. And I feel like that manifests in ways that aren't just identifying with a political tribe, and then somebody says something that doesn't fit your preconceived version of what is, and then just say, you must be lying. Nope, impossible. We have to be able to engage in these conversations. And if we just shut it down and just say you're a racist or you're a leftist, you're a Marxist, you're a victimhood mentality, and just name call, we're not going to get anywhere.
Mm-hmm. So as someone who would be somewhere in the middle between the extremes on a lot of issues like me, I'm guessing you have a similar experience in that I'll say something and I'll get comments saying, look, you're a far left social justice warrior, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then I'll say something else in a different circumstances and I'll get accused of being far right, extremist. And it's like, guys, what are the odds that what are the odds that I'm simultaneously at both opposite ends of the political extreme versus the idea that I'm actually somewhere in the middle, and other people who are at far ends of the political extreme both view me as extremist because they've gone so far off the deep end.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? All right. Now this one actually isn't for you.
Okay. Should I?
Yeah.
All right.
This is for Vada.
It's been fun. Come on.
Well,
Vada.
actually it's for me, but it involves Vada.
All right. Get in the hot seat, man. I done grew up.
Jesus walked, said, "Can you beatbox?"
Oh, can I beatbox?
No, he says to me, "Can you beatbox?"
Okay.
But you know,
you killed that. I know.
But historically, the purpose of a beatbox is to give a beat.
You know what I'm saying? To give a beat. And why would you give a beat?
Yeah.
Why would somebody make a beat?
Here's the thing. Normally, that would be Vocab Malone sitting here. And I would drop a beat, and Vocab would start freestyling. Vocab's not here. Freestyling is a rare skill.
It's a rare skill, baby.
A rare skill.
A rare skill.
You know anyone who can freestyle?
Yeah, your boy.
Oh, yeah?
Your boy.
Hey, we're about to break it down here. What are you guys doing? You ready? All right, you ready?
Let's go.
We're just going. No rehearsal, no practice. We're just going to do it because that's how we do it.
And this will, I want to try something. Are you, when you beatboxing, are you able to look at comments?
Oh, you want me to give you comments?
No.
What?
Because that's gonna be too many words.
Hang on, guys.
Right.
Hey, how about I can put some comments. Now, check this out. I could tell them to give some comments of things they want you to freestyle about, and I'll put them all up on the screen here, and you can check them out. Does that work?
Yeah, but let it be words, because like if it's a sentence, I don't want no sentence. So as I'm rapping, y'all can just put like one word or like 2 words or something like that. And
how about guys, give him some words to freestyle about. I'll just start putting them up on the screen.
All right, cool.
All right, he wants some words. Ready? You ready to go?
Yes, sir.
You ready to break it down?
Let's go.
All right, here we go.
Vada. 1, 2, Yo, I'm just a lyrics wizard. I know you didn't pick it, but since I'm wicked with it, we're completely different. Yo. Check. I'm just a lyrics wizard. I know you didn't pick it, but since I'm wicked with it, with this crickets can't be different. The most hot is different, and I praise it God because you know that he do it and he saved me up. Don't you know that it ain't no facade? I got chips on the black and you want a facade. Put that on God, man. You already know how I do, and I'm kicking it with David Wood. We in the crew. I can't pronounce that word, man. There's way too many letters, but you know that when it comes to flow, don't know what to do better. Nobody does it better. I do it best. I got the sauce and I come out the west. Who want problems, man? You know I'm from South Side, South Central, and you know that I'ma do it outright this, and you already know how I do. I said sauce already, let's go to the root. I put that on God, and I'm talking about Jesus, not Allah. So who want that? This is what I do. I am beautiful. When I flow, and I'm coming off the top, don't you know? And I do it, and I get it when I rock. Give me some food. That's what I did. Came through the room, cause I came from the crib. Who won't beef or who won't lamb? You know me. This is what I'm gonna do, baby. Holla at D-Wood. This is what I do, cause you know I'm from Inglewood. Minimus. It's a minimus. What on earth rhymes with Leviticus? If I say minimal or finibus, because I'm gonna do it, don't be frivolous. Oh man, it's snapback. And he said magic. Backpack reminds me of vocab when his zapsack. Back when before he changed his name, Backpack. I'm Vada, that runs for Savior, so I can do that, man. That's real easy, player. What we gonna do? Keep it on going. Don't you know that I can do it anytime I'm flowing? I already said Jesus, man. Jesus is the name. Don't you know that there is only one king, only one Savior? His name is Jesus. I need a parable. Can you believe this? Oh, man, this is what I'm doing. I can do this all night, and I'll be pursuing. I used to do this all day with cussing. Now I'm trying to do it and my flow still busting. Like I just had cheeseburgers and and it's raining like a fool. So this is what I'm gonna do when I'm coming straight off the top. And who won't be? Not you, because I'm still a battle rapper. You ain't got no hope. It's gonna be a disaster. You got Fruit Loop flow. That means you real whack. So don't step to me, y'all hit you in the back. Oh, Muhammad, they said Muhammad. He ain't really God, homeboy. He's not a prophet. You better recognize it's only one. His name is Jesus. He is the son. Hey. All y'all hating, wonder what I'm facing, wonder what I think about reparations. All I know is that it's injustice. What's going on? I'll be a bust this. When I bust this, there's no inclusion. It is exclusive. Jesus, what you doing? Jesus is saving the world the only way. If you got a tattoo, you can still be saved. I ain't trying to get into all of that stuff. Talking about jam killing. Hey, that's enough. Hey, and I can keep on going all day. Vocab's the homie. What up, Adam Coleman? Don't you know that I'm still on here flowing? This is what I do before I got saved. Man, don't you know that rapping is easy? Acting like I'm Christian is the hard part. This right here, I can do all day. Calvinism. Yo, go to my channel. I got a 5-part series on it. It features Mott Slick and Michael Holloway. Don't you know you can learn from it all day, don't it? Oh, you talking about cats? I'm thinking about you cats that don't belong in the ring with somebody like me. Don't you know when I start rapping, Thuggish rapper gonna act like he sing. Cause don't nobody want it, don't nobody bust this. Do it in public, you gonna need some justice. Let's keep it simple, this is in the public. You already know, when you dump it. Steph, what you talking about, baby? What's a fancy rap? Is that a hamster or something? Where they do that at? Acts 17 Apologetics, bro. Don't you know I do it like magic? Abracadabra, bush of the disaster. I can do this easy. Don't you know that I'm the best? You better believe me. Don't you know I do it like bingo? And I do it like I'm bilingual. Who want that? Want sames. And I can quote a scripture from James 1:12. He said, blessed is the man who can endure that temptation. You gotta know your scripture. Look it up if I know that verse off the top. Don't you understand? I do it like meatballs and spaghetti when I rock. This is what's going on, baby. And you know I got heart. Give me a beat. I'm gonna tear that thing apart. This is what I do. You already know. Vada, you know I got flows. Oh, you saying wow? I'ma take that as a compliment. Don't you know that I'ma do it? It is like the opposite. Anytime somebody do it, man, I can rock with it. Coming off the top, now, man, when it's opposite. Hey, where they at? Where they at, though? Don't you know that I'm the king of the cat? So when it comes to flowing, you already knowing. They call me Bing Vada. Oh, man, I'm doing. Man, I'm so fly. I'm so cool, like I'm cooler than the other side of the pillow. Hey man, why y'all messing about candy canes and stuff, man? Y'all better holler at me. Give me something really harder. I can do this all day, and you know I'm really smarter. I'm coming off the top, and it's easy, boy. Man, I already say on the CV sword. Oh man, home CH. He said proportionate. It should be a CH in that word, but it's not. Fingers. That's why I don't like the language of English. This is what's going on. Oh, Dimey, do it already. He's talking about salami. Bobby, oh no, that ain't Bobby Conway. That's Frank Turek. He just stepped in the play. Oh, Frank Turek in the room. Don't you know I'm freestyling? They giving me words too. Hey, man, Frank Turek's my big homie. David Wood, I'm the reason that they know it. This is what it's going. I'll rock the beat to sleep. I can keep on going all day from the streets, man. You better recognize. Oh, man, go to the next word. I ain't going. Yo.
You threw it off, Shepherd's Ambassador. You ruined it. We were going to go for an hour.
I would have kept going, but somebody had to say fart.
Ruined it.
I'm like, what punchline am I going to say about fart without feeling immature? Is he a real one? Type that in y'all thing and subscribe to my channel. Is he a real one?
After we actually go, I'll enter your info in the description box. So
yeah.
Get you. Frank, you want to sit down real quick?
Let's go. Let's go.
You were-
I can't follow Vada, man.
You were not invited, but you showed up.
I can't follow Vada. He's the man.
Frank, that's why Frank Turek writes all the Eminem's rhymes. Y'all didn't know that, man.
For everybody that was asking, it was Frank talking on the chat. There's Frank. He was going to dinner.
Now, Frank,
David.
I've been told by many people that I think like a military general.
Yes.
I'm considered by many to be a tactical genius.
Yes.
When I look around, I usually think, why can't anyone think 10, 12, 20, 30 years in the future and think, what do we do now to reach that, whatever we want in the future?
Mm-hmm.
But when I think, who else thinks like this? You're the only one that comes to
Why
mind.
is that, man?
Well, no one told me this, but I'm just looking, and it looks, well, I mean, apart from all the different ministries you've got a hand in, which often parallel mine, which is leading to some interesting collaborations and so on.
Yes.
As far as getting materials translated around the world
Yeah.
and so on. I look at what's going on at CIA, and I'm not stupid, right? Here's what you can tell me if I'm wrong, because no one said this, but this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like.
CIA cross-examined instructor academy.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
Jorge broke it down.
Yeah. All right.
So, cross-examined instructors academy.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like here's what you do, right? You put together these training sessions for upcoming apologists. You get experienced apologists in there, go through some training, and then they go through some training, and then they give presentations and so on. Then they get critiqued on their presentations. But then I notice you going around, hey, anyone stand out? Anyone stand out especially?
That's right.
And it seems that what you're doing is, hey, it's good for all these Christian apologists to get training and so on, but you're actually sort of using the conference to spot people of exceptional ability so that when you hear, you snatch them out, pay special attention to them, and start giving them opportunities.
There's one of them right there. The most interesting man in apologetics. Right here.
So I already did my little intro today. And what are we talking about?
About how
wasn't even
exciting
listening.
you are.
How good is he?
Yeah.
How good can he be?
This is the best. First of all, this guy is a great leader, number one. Number two, he's great at what he does in terms of technical, all the stuff that you're doing, he's also doing online.
Oh, he's doing stuff, even stuff we're collaborating on. He's doing stuff I can't do. I don't know how to put together the websites and the.
Well, he does. He's a student of all this. In fact, he's not just good in a Christian ministry. He could be good anywhere doing what he does.
You're saying he could be good in like a drug cartel.
But he said I was the what was it?
The Pablo Escobar.
Of apologetics.
That's it.
I just tried, but yes, I think that it's very important right now that we not only teach people how to be good apologists, but also teach people how to be good at using the technology to get the message out there. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if you're a good apologist if you don't know how to get the message out there. So that's what we do here at the Cross-Examining Instructor Academy. We do live stream. We teach people how to use the tools that they have at their disposal to get the message out.
Now, most of you who might know my name probably know it because of this guy. Because, look, let me be honest with you. I've never put a YouTube video on YouTube. He has, and his team has. That's why you know about Cross-Examine, because of him, not because of me.
All right, here's something for both of you. You guys should have some live trainings for all the Christian apologists living in other parts of the world. I would sign up in a jiffy. Just make sure it's free or by invitation. Thanks. So I'm guessing there's stuff similar to that, but it looks like he's suggesting something similar to CIA.
Well, we just recorded CIA these last 3 days. So at some point in the not too distant future, CIA is going to be virtual. Yeah. Now, it's not as good as coming. Trust me, it's not as good as... No online training is as good as being there. You can't train the U.S. Navy SEALs online, okay? But it's better than nothing. And so what we're going to do is create an online version of this and then come on Zoom and evaluate your presentations. That's what we're going to try and do.
All right, Frank, what do you want to share with everyone?
What I want to share is, you guys already know this man. It's his channel. But this man is fearless, and I'm inspired by what David Wood does. And if there's anything I want to ask him right now, I want him to reiterate easy for me to say, reiterate something that he and I were talking about with somebody else here at CIA. David, let's deal with this objection that people bring up about you and your tactics. David, you're too rough on people. David, you go after people. David, you're not supposed to mock people. How do you respond?
Yeah, well, for years, I was kind of anathema towards everyone, and it was only a couple people. It was only a couple people who really, wanted to have anything to do with me. You were one, right? So you were supporting, and then you actually had me come out and speak and so on. But it has a lot to do with this issue that in the West, Christians have been trained to think that if you make fun of Muhammad or you make fun of the Quran or you criticize, there are Christians who even train other Christians that you don't ever criticize Muhammad, you don't ever criticize the Quran, you just keep the focus on the gospel. And then, if someone accepts it or rejects it on that grounds, but you don't criticize Islam or the Quran. It was really ever since I've been involved in this. I mean, I'm talking upwards of 90% of the people, the Muslims who've converted to Christianity that I know only converted after seeing some serious problems with their religion. And Nabil told me after he became a Christian, he said that when you are presenting evidence to me, when we talk about evidence for Jesus' crucifixion, evidence for Jesus' resurrection, evidence for his deity, evidence for the reliability of the New Testament, I was always thinking, after we go through it a while, Christians have a good case for what they believe. They have good evidence for what they believe.
Yeah.
But I would always think, but I have better evidence for Islam. And even if they were to show me with 99% certainty that Christianity is true, I'm still 100% sure that Islam is true. And your average Muslim thinks that he has that 100% assurance that Islam is true, so that nothing can ever challenge it.
Yeah.
And then Christians are going around saying, don't ever do anything to dent that 100% confidence. What are you talking about? Islam is the most wide open target of criticism in the history of humanity. So the objection is that, well, it's just unbiblical, just unbiblical.
Why is it not unbiblical? It's actually biblical in the right circumstances to even potentially mock something. When does that happen?
Yeah,
in the Bible.
If you're looking at when Jesus or the apostles would mock something, it's usually in the context of religious leaders or religious oppressors who are leading other people astray. So that's when you see the Apostle Paul say to Elymas the sorcerer, you son of the devil, you enemy of all righteousness. That's not nice. If I said to anyone in this world, you son of the devil, you enemy of righteousness, I'd say, how dare you, David? You're a Christian. That's the Apostle Paul.
Right.
That's the Apostle Paul. Jesus, when he's talking to the scribes and Pharisees, who are some of the most respected people in that society, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites, you whitewashed tombs, you brood of vipers. I mean, these are the nastiest things you can say to somebody.
David, that's
and
not
Jesus
very
is blasting
nice.
I know, right? And so, my position is, according to the Bible, it's acceptable to mock certain categories of people, and we know what those are
for their teachings.
Yeah,
for their teachings.
Yeah,
that are leading people astray.
Yeah, and if we look at those categories, like religious oppressors oppressing other people, Muhammad is kind of the paradigm example of someone who's doing that, right? There's never been a greater example of someone leading more people astray through false religious teaching and oppressing them in the process than Muhammad. So biblically, I have to think, if anyone is a worthy target of mockery and criticism, it's Muhammad. So if we can ever do it, we can do it with him. And clearly, biblically, there are times when we can do it. Therefore, I can do it with Muhammad. And you add to that the fact that it's just massively, massively successful. It works.
It works in a certain culture. And the Middle East culture is different than the culture we have here in the United States. You were saying today that if you don't come out hard on people, what do they think in that culture?
Yeah, and this goes back to Nabil. Nabil was the first one where I got this. And I'll tell you, we were watching a debate between William Lane Craig and Jamal Badawi. And that debate was a massacre. Craig just crushed him. I would have scored the debate about 95-5. Everything Craig said, Jamal Badawi couldn't answer, and everything Jamal Badawi said, Craig crushed it. And so, I would have scored it like 95-5. Nabil was still a Muslim at this time. We finished, and I said, so what'd you think? He said, Badawi clearly won. And I understand there are people who will just side with their debater. Nabil was not one of them. Nabil was extremely intelligent and a trained communicator. And so I'm thinking, what did he just see that I did not see?
Yeah.
And if you watch that debate, by the end of the debate, Badawi was so frustrated he started yelling. Right? Now we look at that and say, "Yeah, your guy started yelling. Why? Because he's angry, he's frustrated, he knows he's losing, he's getting desperate.
Right.
Why is William Lane Craig perfectly calm? He knows he's winning. He doesn't have anything to be frustrated or nervous about. Everything's going well, and that's how we're looking at it. Took me a while to get it out of Nabil, but at the end of the day, Nabil was, in his mind, Badawi was yelling because deep down he knows that he has the truth, and this other person is blaspheming and insulting the Almighty, and this is welling up as righteous anger for the blasphemy of this other person. The reason Badawi is because he knows he's right and this other person is wrong. The reason William Lane Craig is calm is because deep down he doesn't believe what he's saying. He can't even get excited about this because deep down he knows he's facing.
So it's a different perspective from a different culture. And so just because you don't think it works here in America doesn't mean that it doesn't work overseas. It is working overseas. You're getting comments and emails from people who are saying, I've left Islam because of what you've said. Let me say one other thing about this. Ladies and gentlemen, think about this. It's very difficult for somebody to leave their worldview for another worldview until they start to doubt their own worldview. So how do you get them to do that? Some of you people are old enough to remember this. You remember when when people used to come up to your door, knock on the door, and you'd open the door, and there'd be a guy trying to sell you a vacuum. I don't know if you're old enough for this, David.
I've seen it on television.
Yeah.
No, I do remember. I do. I remember one of those dudes showing up at my trailer, trying to sell me a Kirby, and
it's like $1,200.
$1,200.
Exactly.
Remember that?
You know how I know? You know how I know? My wife bought one 2 years before we got married, so we got one of those.
Hey, check this out, though. This guy comes in, he's giving a presentation. My mom sits there through the presentation because this guy's vacuuming around. And I'm sitting there. I'm 7 years old, and I'm thinking, there is no way my mom. Are you stupid? You think my mom is going to spend anything on? Are you insane? And so so I did. So I did.
Okay, so they cover your door, and what do? They pull a pillow off your couch, and they'd put like a bag around the pillow, and then they'd suck all this stuff out of it, and it was like all sorts of bugs and mites that would come out of it, and they'd go, you need this vacuum. You know how dirty your couch is? You're sitting on that. You got babies on. Are you kidding me? So you got to buy this thing now, right? Now, that person is only going to buy that thing if they think that their vacuum isn't very good enough, or isn't as good as that one, right? So imagine this scenario. Somebody knocks on your door, brings the vacuum in, and you go, you think that's good. You go in your closet, you think of your vacuum, go, look at this thing. And the vacuum salesman says, you know what? That's so good, I want it. Let me buy it from you. Is that ever going to happen? No. The vacuum salesman's not going to come buy your vacuum until he starts thinking that his vacuum isn't as good as yours. And so what we need to do is we need to point out that their worldview is deficient before they're even open to our worldview. And that's what David does.
And the example that they gave when they came over, I remember it. The guy went over the carpet 100 times with our vacuum. And then said, and I'm going to go over it once with the Kirby, and he went and it sucked up all this dirt.
I got a guy here saying,
And
I was a Kirby salesman.
I was sitting there thinking, that is good. I do want that stuff sucked out of there, but no way my mom's going for that one. And she didn't.
She didn't.
Here you have a question from Victor. Victor says, question for Frank. Why do people hold so tightly to young earth theory?
Well, I think for many people, they're holding tightly to it because they're taking a plain reading of Genesis 1 based on the paradigm that they think Genesis 1 is trying to teach a time period of when creation occurred. And they're just going back and adding up the genealogies, and they're saying, well, the earth must be 6,000 plus years old. Now, you can certainly take that interpretation of Scripture. That's a perfectly valid interpretation of Scripture. But my co-author, Dr. Norman Geisler, wrote a systematic theology, and he looked at all of the different possible interpretations of Genesis 1. And I think he said there were about 13 major presentations, and all but 2 of them are orthodox. You know, there's like 11 different ways you could look at it.
I just took the course at SES, and we look at 7 of them, and one that was heretical, which is the complete myth. And all the other 6 all the other 6 are completely valid. That we can actually take and still say, hey, you know what? You're a Christian, I'm a Christian. We can differ on that, and we're good to go.
On our YouTube channel, there's a YouTube video. We won't spend time going into it here, but you know, how old is the universe? And you can see the perspective I take on it if you want to go over there. But I don't judge the motives of people that hold either view. I say, hey, that's a perfectly valid view. You could be right, at least from the scripture standpoint. I think there are two types of revelation, though. There's general revelation and natural revelation. And you need general revelation to interpret natural revelation. For example, if you didn't understand language, or you didn't understand cause and effect, or you didn't understand order, that you couldn't validly interpret the Bible or the newspaper, for that matter. There are certain things you need to bring to the text in order to know what the text says. And go look at that video if you want more on that.
Yeah, well, I think the problem also comes when people take one posture and make that the gospel, when it's something that is secondary or tertiary. And I think that's where the issues come. So if we stop looking at things that way, I think we'll have a more a strong and united body, if you will.
That's right. John Lennox has a good book, 7 Days to Divide the World. Check that out.
Here you have a testimony from True Idea Apologetics. That's Adam Coleman.
Hey, Adam, what's happening?
Adam says, straight up, CIA was a game changer for me. My public presentation style and quality greatly improved because of it.
Thanks, man. And he was in New York. He was in Brooklyn with us last year.
That's what we do it.
Yeah, all right.
And all right, anything else to share with everyone?
No, man. I just want to say thanks for the work you're doing. Very few people have his guts and intelligence at the same time. So if you're out there and you haven't signed up as a subscriber or you haven't signed up as a supporter, what are you waiting for? Do it.
He's got a point.
Yeah. And in fact, he's building a whole apologetics empire last I checked, right?
Yes, sir.
It's an empire.
Right? It's an empire. So help him out, all right? Because if you help him out, you're helping out the body of Christ, not just nationally, but globally. In fact, Dave and I were meeting with people today that are taking our videos, my videos, his videos, and putting them into like 6 or 7 different languages.
Urdu and Tamil and all these other languages.
Farsi. They're taking the videos and they're putting them up on different channels on YouTube. So people in Pakistan, Iran, Bangladesh, India, these predominantly Muslim countries can get the truth. So he's doing a lot of great work, this man right here. So make sure you support him, all right?
And by the way, I saw some questions where people say, what do my shirts say?
Yeah, what is this?
It says contradict. It's a play on the coexist bumper sticker. And if you need any, you can go to crossexamine.org, hit store, or you can go to the YouTube channel, the Cross Examine YouTube channel. And thank you all. We just hit 200,000 subscribers. You can go to the store there. You can go to the Teespring and you can get you one.
Hey, we've been going quite a while. We want to get off here pretty soon, but why don't you give everyone a little quick story, just so they know you, so they get to know you.
Okay, well, my name is Jorge Gil. I'm originally from Costa Rica. For everybody who don't know me yet, I'm the executive director for Cross Examine. I've been working with Frank going on 6 years now. I actually met the Lord in a federal facility, in a prison in Georgia. And the Lord changed my life. I was down for 9 months. When I came out, I fell in love with apologetics. I remember listening to Ravi Zacharias on the AM/FM radio, and I was surrounded by Muslims, by Baha'is. I was surrounded by Hindus in a federal facility of people who were going to be deported. For some reason, God allowed me to stay here. I came out. I started studying apologetics, and I went to the Cross Examine Instructor Academy. That's where I met Frank. And then about a year later, I was on board. They had hired me at Cross Examine. My passion is to bring apologetics to the Latin American community, to the Spanish community. I travel all over the place, and we create apologetics resources in Spanish. And now we're going to do the Apologetics Empire. If you want to go to apologeticsempire.com, from there you can go to our YouTube channel, to our Facebook channel, to our Instagram account. And yes, my passion is to get these resources in the best way possible in digital format to anybody and everybody who is willing to learn. So you can look me up at the crossexamine.org website. And yes, my name is Jorge Gil, and I'm super happy to be here letting you guys know about all of these. And if you want to get better at your communication when it comes to apologetics, make sure you sign up for the Cross Examine 2021 in Chino Hills, California next year.
All right, and everyone's been on, right? Huh?
Yeah.
Everyone's been on?
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we've been going for about 2 hours now. And yeah, just wanted, again, everyone to know, for those who came in late, I sort of haven't been on in a few days because I've been down here. Wanted everyone to know, especially when everyone's right here in the same hotel. Wanted to get a bunch of people on together. I'm leaving in the morning. I think most of us are leaving in the morning. And so I'll be back home tomorrow evening. Probably won't post a video. I'll probably be tired, but should be back in business on Monday. So, catch y'all then. Everyone want to say bye?
All right.
Peace.
And I'll have all of the links to channels or websites of everyone here down in the description box after I put them in there. Catch y'all later.
Peace.
Fast hands, baby, in Jesus' name.